Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Male Soap Opera Moment, the best podcast. Why? How? How is all this possible? Why is this feasible? Well, the one and only Vincent Kennedy Bucci.
Yes. The Booch is back for the Male Soap Opera Moment and excited for the Survivor Series this Saturday on the Peacock as we have the main roster debut of War Games.
Yes, Booch. Well, as you know, your reigning, defending prediction champion resideth here in Wen's World, providing light and glory for all the Wen's Worldians here. Of course, just a reflection of the light, not the actual source and truth of light itself. I didn't mean to get that deep here in Wen's World, but from time to time, we can delve into those deep waters here in the Male Soap Opera Moment. So we're going to get into all the matches of Survivor Series, but your champion is excited to announce that I am defending again like a brave champion would, not skipping a pay-per-view like some champions do, or like some pay-per-views do. Like, Booch, I'm kind of upset that we only have like 2 titles on the line: the SmackDown Women's Championship and, of course, the United States Championship. But before we get into all my grumblings, which we actually may not get to because my publicist said that's not good for ratings, the 12 people that listen to the show demand better. So I'm going to give them better, Booch. So, but I do want to get some background on War Games because I'm not, an NXT guru. I don't dedicate time to that show. But it kind of rings a bell with some old school wrestling in WCW. But then again, it's been like over 20 years since that was a relevant brand. So get into the background of it and fill us in on the deets.
Yeah, the War Games is a historic match. Obviously, as I mentioned before, Wenz does not follow NXT. So I also, at the same time, I don't know, Wenz, if you've done any WCW research or if you were a WCW guy at all. Because obviously WCW, NWA, when it was the NWA before it was WCW, that's where the War Games match originated. And the War Games is a great match. It's usually 4-on-4. Now they're kind of adding 5-on-5. There's been rare cases where it's been 3-on-3, and they've had 3-man teams or 2 teams fighting each other. Sometimes it's 3 teams. They've mixed and matched it over the years. But the original concept of the War Games was to have 2 people start off every couple minutes, every period. Somebody enters from one team, then another person enters from the other team, the other person enters from the other team, other person enters from the other team, and so on and so forth until everybody's in. And it's every couple period intervals. And then once everyone's in, that's when the War Games officially begins. And it was supposed to be you would win by either submission or surrender. So you would either tap out or you would say stop or I give up or we surrender. It's like in war. In war, when the other team surrenders, they wave the white flag and it's like, hey, we surrender, we give up, you win the war. Now they've kind of changed it up to where they've added pinfalls, which I'm personally not a big fan of. I'll be brutally honest. I don't like that concept of War Games. They tried that once in 1998 in WCW. It did not work out. They also tried to make it every man for himself, and the winner got a world title shot. It was the worst War Games match of all time until 2020 when the women had their War Games match, and that was an abomination. Now, the War Games matches since then have gotten better for the women, but that first initial one was, oh my God. I still have nightmares of that War Games match. It was god-awful. But anyway, I'm excited for the War Games. Look forward to seeing where they go with this, and I hope the main roster fans take to it as much as the NXT fans have. Well, for the women's War Games match, which obviously is going to be better than the one in 2020, this one I've been having a tough time with. And the reason for that is because I'm not quite sure how they want to go about this, because they've added different people from different feuds. Not just, Bianca Belair and Damage Control, but they also got Rhea Ripley. They also got Mia Yim. They've got Nikki Cross, and there's a mystery person. So I'm intrigued to find out who the mystery person is. I'm thinking, could it be Sasha Banks? Could it be Naomi? I've heard some people say it could be the False Flair. But obviously, I don't think that's going to work because it would be weird because, as most people know, Charlotte Flair is not really good as a babyface. Personally, she's more of a horse face. But as a babyface, she is just not good. She works better as a heel because it's easier to hate her because she's a spoiled brat. So I don't think she's going to be it. But ultimately, when I look at this, I think it could be Sasha Banks. It could be Naomi. There was talks of them coming back. But I feel like if you're not revealing the fifth person until the pay-per-view, it needs to be a shocking return. If it's not something that's going to shock people, if it's not going to be a return that's going to make people go, holy shit, or a legend appearance that's not going to make people go, holy shit, then you might as well just announce it on Raw. They might as well just announced it on the go home. Because they didn't, that means they're planning something. Hopefully, it's a plan that works. Also, I'll say on a side note before I get my pick, I love that Rhea Ripley won the War Games Advantage match over Asuka. And the reason is because, and this is a cardinal rule in War Games, this is something that you need to do, and this is a fact of the match that is beyond contestation. And by the way, if you know where I got that word from, you're awesome. But this is not up for debate. The heel team must always have the one man, or in this case, one woman advantage going into War Games. Now, the advantage is basically what this means is, let's say, again, I'm educating these people who are not familiar with War Games. Let's say Dakota Kai and Alexa Bliss start off. They're the first two in, and they're wrestling. When that first period is over, someone from the Damage Control team is going to come in, whether it be Bayley, whether it be Io Sky, whether it be Nikki Cross, whether it be Rhea Ripley, because they have the advantage. So now it's going to be 2-on-1 until the next period. Then the next period, either Bianca Belair, Asuka, Mia Yim, or the Mystery Girl will come in next. And because the babyface team has a mystery opponent, the one-man advantage was even better because that means it's a good chance the last person into the cage for the War Games will be the mystery person, and that's when we get the big reveal. This is how you tell a story in wrestling. Now, the reason the heel team needs to have the advantage is because that way the two heels can beat up on the one babyface in the beginning to get their heat. They're getting heat because you can't fight off two people at once, and that's where the heat comes in. Because a one-on-one fight is fair. A two-on-one fight is not fair. If you need 3 or 4 people with you to beat up one person, you're a wuss. That's why this works. You know, 1-to-1 fight, that determines who's really better. So they have the heel advantage. Then, when that period ends and the second babyface comes in to even the odds, that's when the babyface makes the comeback. They come in like a house of fire, take out the heels, dominate. They're working together. Now it's a fight. Then the third heel comes in on the next period, 3-on-2. Now the advantage is back on the heels. They get the heat back. Then the third baby comes in for the comeback. That's how this works. That's why it's important for the heel team to have the advantage going into War Games so they can get their heat. That's the only part of a War Games match that should be predictable is the heels having the advantage. As far as who's going to win or lose, we find that at the end. So I just want to throw that in there that's important. Now, that being said, when I look at this, as much as I want to believe that Damage Control is going to win this, I have made the mistake on betting against Bianca Belair too many times, especially during times where it would have made logical sense for her to not be champion anymore. So even though I'm going against my better judgment, I want my title back. So I'm going with Team EST. I'm going with Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and whoever comes out to join them.
Oh, Booch, you gave me a million reasons to bounce back and forth. Like, are they going to create enough doubt for me to bet against Team Bailey? Like, they're in charge now, but in this women's war game match, I got to believe that because there's not a title on the line, that Team Belair are going to win this match. So you can count on Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, Becky Lynch, and of course the EST of WWE to come out with the dub.